The other big story this week has to do with what is happening at the Pumwani Maternity Hospital. The discovery of fetuses, dead fetuses packed in boxes and plastic bags and stored in an office-like room at Pumwani instead of a morgue. The fact that Pumwani Hospital, despite being in existence for more than 2 decades, still does not have an operational cold room or morgue, and therefore they store bodies in such a manner. And the question is, for a hospital of such status, being the biggest maternity facility in the country, is it time we rethink whether or not it should be run at the county level? Because Kenyatta National Hospital, other referral hospitals are run by the national government. But when it comes to Pumwani, it's still under the county government. It has suffered a lot of mismanagement, but don't you think that such a facility deserves a rethink in how it's managed?
Definitely. Born in Pumwani, but we've wrong reasons, and especially in the maternity section. And I think Mheshimiwa Gladys can talk more about Pumwani than myself. But to me, I would think the management is horrible, and I also think the governor, the way the governor has moved in, again, is not the best way to do it, because sometimes we play politics with our medical institutions, hospitals, matters to do with medics. We don't really politicize because it's a very delicate thing. But to me, it was shocking when I read in the news about the infants stocked in boxes. To me, that was just horrible. I don't know why they did that. And Pumwani has had issues, and in the wrong way, again and again. Yeah. Something ought to be done. And I think Honorable Wanga will tell us more about Pumwani.
Yes, because the shocking thing is that talking to one of the doctors, they said that, yes, those are fetuses or stillborn babies. But even if a woman was to die while delivering at Pumwani, she would be stored in the same way, awaiting transportation. Now, this is an issue that should be of national concern, that a hospital of this status is working without an operational morgue.
Yeah, I think that's actually what's happening at Pumwani is unbelievable. I think, and it's not really whether it's being managed by the national or the county government. You know, Fred, delivery is a basic service. It really is not a service to be put at referral level unless it is complicated delivery where now, you need much, because KNH, even KNH being with the national government has not helped it. We still have seen as many problems. But KNH is at referral status because it should be when you cannot get a service at a dispensary or your health center or your level 5, now you move to KNH. That is how the referral should work. But delivery is really a basic level service that should be provided at the most basic level. You know, you should be able to, at your health center, you should be able to move in, deliver, and leave. So a number of things are of concern to me. Of course, one is the fact that there's no space for storage of dead, whether it's a fetus or dead mothers. That is one big problem. But before we get there, Kenya should be at a place where we don't have mothers dying while delivering, or even babies. You know, when I looked at the number of babies who die at Pumwani, it's beyond imagination. We are told 3, 4, 5 babies die every single day. Birth should be really giving forth new life. At this day and age, we should not have, and at a facility like Pumwani, which should be a premier facility, we should not have babies dying or mothers dying. Because when you look at the reason why babies die or mothers die, they are almost 99% avoidable.
It's pure negligence.
You know, they are almost 99%. You know, where you find a case where a mother actually dies or a baby actually dies out of unavoidable circumstances, it is very, very minor. The cases where mothers or babies die, and it's not just in Pumwani, across our hospitals, is because of negligence. It's because a mother comes, they're in labor, nobody is attending to them.
But don't you think that requires a different kind of thinking in terms of management, that probably have a board of directors, have a totally different kind of system to manage that hospital? Or what is the other solution, you would think? Because Pumwani has been in the news for decades, but it never generates any positive headline.
Yeah, Pumani has a board, and now that Sonko has thrown out the board of management of that hospital, I think we now need to look at the capacity that we, in terms of board, that we're going to put in that hospital and in our hospitals, and how the management is done. I think must be really looked at. But we must look at our healthcare generally across the country. Pumani has just given us a glimpse of what's happening to our mothers all across our hospitals, which are being run by our counties all across the country. We had a conversation here with you, Fred, around our healthcare system when Governor Waititu came and said, oh, these people should be, even when poor people are sharing a bed, that is when we should be clapping, you know, because we will know that our people are doing. If that is the mentality that our governors have, or if it is a reflection of that mentality, then we can never get to a place where our counties can actually adequately provide healthcare to our
And hence the question, should a hospital like Pumwani be left to the county government?
I think it's not just about Pumwani being left to the county government or to be taken over by the national government. This is just one among very many cases. You are talking of children who are immunized by some vaccine in Busia. Now they are paralyzed. You are talking of very many deaths that are happening in this country due to medical negligence. And to me, the solution will be, we have the current Health Laws Amendments 2018 that is coming up, I think, for second reading. And that really talks of having a board that will have the mandate to kind of audit the health facilities, health, the biomedical engineering equipment, and even really go down to carry out an investigation on specific deaths, because the medical practitioners cannot investigate themselves. And really, that is something that should be thought outside the box. And what has happened in Pumani, it's happening elsewhere. We're only aware of what happened in Pumani because the governor went there, and it was on media. It was a media outburst that this so-and-so is going on. But this said and done, Pumani is known for child swapping. What happens is that when children dies, they don't take them to the mortuary, but they will hold them somewhere. This is what we are being told. And then when your child is born, is healthy, then they will swap. They will give you, they will show you a child, that a newborn baby that has died, that this is your baby. So they go to bury. So that is exactly what happens. Because there is no explanation whatsoever that can justify why you can have a dead body of a person, whether a child or otherwise, in the hospital for one day. It doesn't make sense. In a box, packed in a box.
And I'll ask you a question, because this issue came up on Monday. Today is Wednesday. And we're taking a look at the headlines. And this issue of Pumwani, if at all it was in any other jurisdiction, would have probably made it to the front page as a splash story. But here, we're talking about, yesterday, one of the dailies had fertilizer as a big story. Today we're talking about this debate that you're supposed to have tomorrow, not even today. We're talking about more about the parliamentary group meetings that you had. An issue like this one of Pumwani does not receive as much prominence. Don't you think that therefore, even as a society, what the kind of scenes we saw when Governor Sonko burst into the hospital, that we assume this is just normal, it happens at Pumwani, and so yeah, that's just life?
In fact, I would say that in other countries, Pumwani would have been closed, to not even be there, and arrests would have been made. People will be in police custody as we talk, because what is happening is completely no regard for life. As much as we talk about those who are like still, the way they were explaining, stillborn babies who didn't weigh more than 1,000 grams and all that, but that is still life. Those are still human beings, and they deserve dignity. To me, I think Pumwani has been always there, but for the wrong reason. I think there should be change in management and change in placement of Pumwani so that things can change.
Okay. Anything to add on that matter? We need to look at another issue. Police uniforms, still a big discussion.
You see, this Pumani matters. I think we have some cartels. And you know, cartels have money. And we are in danger of letting this country to be a Kalimak state, where those cartels who have money, they control even the killer squads. They can do even through intimidation, compromising in investigations. Because I'll tell you today, if you go and you commit a crime, and you are not a member of those cartels, you will be arrested immediately. The evidence will be in plenty. It will have glaring evidence to take you and convict you in jail. So we really want to urge the government, specifically the security forces, that they can do a service to this country by dismantling cartels that they are all over, everywhere. You go to the lands, they are there. You go to the hospitals, they are there. So this is really a problem for this
cartels affect Pumwani?
Yeah, but you see, there is a problem that we are facing, a bigger problem, which is the problem of child trafficking. You know, so Pumwani is a conduit for child trafficking, and I want to agree with what Honorable Didymus said. Actually, the reason the bodies are kept there is so that healthy babies are stolen, and the mothers, because when you're in labor, and as a mother I can say, you don't know what's happening. If you, after giving birth, you're told, oh, we are sorry, this is your child. You know, you have never seen the way your child looks. All those babies look almost the same. So we are sorry, oh, this is what happened to your child. We are very sorry. Then you take the baby, you mourn that your baby has died, yet your baby has been sold. So there's a very big child trafficking cartel. And one of the things that we have been looking at the Committee of Labor and Social Welfare is, after many stories broke out of how our children are being sold, especially outside of this country, we are looking at the matter of our children and how do we protect our children. And we want to reinforce, there is a moratorium in place against taking our children outside this country. But you know, these children cartels and all these people, they are still continuing to just sell our children. Yet we have parents who are wanting to adopt children in this country, and they are in a queue. They're like, the queue is so long, it can even take you 3 years to get a child. Yet these children who are being born at Pumani, they are probably people waiting there to sell them out of the country. So there is a child trafficking cartel. There are cartels from all corners. And this Pumwani matter should not be looked at just as it's a criminal.
Is it an issue?
It's a criminal ring.
At the committee stage, you will look at it. But don't you think that the way the National Assembly is usually quick to jump on some things, so lie down tragedy and all these things, that Pumwani is one of these issues that probably the Health Committee or any other committee, including yours, should actually take over? Exactly.
I think the Health Committee, since this was a matter of the healthcare, the Health Committee of the Senate, because this is a county government hospital, the Health Committee of the Senate should actually look into the matter. And I remember even the last time there were problems at Pumwani, the Health Committee moved in. So I think what we want to see, and what we want to see on the headlines, is things like this. You know, and I know that you know, all these things are important, but I think this must really be brought to the attention of Kenyans, and media does a big job in doing that.
They could definitely do better and give the story more prominence. Absolutely.